What's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. It's Sunday. It is a lazy day for me. No beat face, no fabulous unit. It's just all natural honey for you today, you guys. Just pure, all natural Miss Honey today. Okay? Get into it. Before I get started with this review for The Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 11, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. I would love to have you as a subscriber to my channel. I promise you will not regret it. Also, if you can go ahead and give me a thumbs up, you guys know that anybody who is brave enough to do review for the Game of Thrones or The Walking Dead is a brave soul. So give me a thumbs up and show me how much you like this review, how much you like Miss Honey, how much you like my content. I would really appreciate it. And to all my subscribers, I love you guys. Mwah. Okay, let's get into it. Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 11, Hostiles and Calamities. Now, this wasn't a high action episode, which is fine. Okay. This was more of a filler episode. It was more about bringing some information and depth of characters to us. So it is going to be a lot of dialogue. I'm going to try to bring it as quickly and as swiftly and as um, in as much detail without babbling on as I possibly can. So we see the first scene open up, and there is a group of people who are gathered around Fat Joey's body, looking at Fat Joey's body, and we see Dwight run up, break through the crowd, look down, look at Fat Joey's body. In his ear, he can hear Negan and those coming in the gate from Alexandria. Okay, so he breaks and runs, goes to Daryl's cell, opens up Daryl's cell, and his heart sinks, I'm sure, because Daryl's not in there. Daryl's freaking gone. And one of the bikes is gone. What the heck? What am I going to do? There's a sense of panic. He then, in turn, runs to his apartment. Now, let's flash back. We see Negan and those unloading the truck. They're taking Eugene off the back of the truck. Eugene, as we know, was taken from Alexandria when Rosita shot a gun at Negan, missed, and the bullet went into Lucille. And it was at this moment that Negan learned that Eugene is capable of making bullets, which makes him an asset. So they take him off the back of the truck. He is sniveling and, in full Eugene mode. So then we go back to flashback to Dwight. Dwight is sitting in his apartment, and there is a knock at the door. Bum, bum, dun, dun, and as he's getting up, the door gets kicked in. In runs. Well, prior to this, we see that Dwight goes back to his apartment, and that is where he finds the note that says "Go now," that was slipped under the door at Daryl's, and he also finds the clothes that Daryl changed into. So he realizes now Daryl had been in his room, changed his clothes, hung out, got something to eat, the whole nine, before he left, killed Fat Joey, and escaped. So anyway, there's this knock at the door. In rushes Negan's boys, and they pretty much boot him up. I mean, they pretty much kick his behind. So flash back to Eugene. Eugene is being taken into a room. He is upset. He is afraid. He is, yellow bellied, lily livered. That's his whole MO, is that he's not built for any type of fighting. So he's begging, please, 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 only to realize that they're actually taking him into his own little apartment. It's complete with refrigerator, hot plate and or stove, Microwave, sink, TV, nice little bed, bookshelf, books, a fern. Like it's a pretty cushy setup. And he realizes that he's being put up in accommodations. So the young lady that calls him haircut, she had this thing for Spencer before he was gutted. It's the same young lady, and so she lets him know, hey, you're one of us now and not one of them now. I think she means he's not one of Alexandria anymore, like those, them, and he's also not one of the lower level people. They're the workers. We learned in this same scene that the workers don't have names, they have numbers. Because she says, hey, you hungry? You want something to eat? I'll bring you something to eat. And he says anything. She says anything. He says anything. She says, look, do anything. He wants a lobster. She's like, get over yourself, really? So he says, okay, well, I'll take some SpaghettiOs or something like that. And a pickle. There's no pickles. Well, I'll take chips. Well, number 42 makes the chips. Number 42, yeah, number 42. Those are the workers. The workers have numbers. The upper echelon Neganites, they, I guess, get called by their name, but everyone else has a number. So, there's that scene. Then we see where Dwight is actually inside a cell, the cell that Daryl was in, and Negan is at the door, and he's going over things with him. Where's my property? What's happening with you? Did Daryl, you were supposed to be breaking Daryl? Did he end up breaking you? You were supposed to turn him into one of the Neganites. Did he end up switching you back over to him? I mean, who are you? Dwight knows he needs to say, I'm Negan. He also finds out in this moment, before he gets the I am Negan moment, that they went out looking for Daryl for a couple of hours, couldn't find him. When he got back, he realized one of his wives was gone. Well, which wife? Dwight says. He kind of knows. He just needs this confirmation. Sherry. Said, what a coincidence, did Sherry let him out? The same time he's gone, Sherry's gone. What do you think? This is when he says, what's happening? What's going on? Who are you, Dwight? And Dwight says, I am Negan. At that moment, Negan opens the door. Dwight is standing there, and he asks Dwight, he says, hey, um, you know, Daryl's not like you. He's emotional. You get it. You know what you got to do to survive. You think you can find her? And he says, yeah, I think I can find her. He said, fine. Tells the doctor who's standing there, go to the medic, get cleaned up. We see Dwight in with the medic, the doctor, and the doctor's like, do you think she let Daryl out? Dwight says, no, I don't think so. The doctor says, I knew it when I saw her. She's got such a kind spirit. I think I got to know her pretty well. When she saw Daryl in here, I knew she was going to help him in some way. She's too sweet. She's too kind. She's the kind of woman that would marry a man to save her husband, to save her husband's life. And this conversation is like want to Dwight, because he has no idea. This doctor has no idea what's going on with him internally, and the fact that he doesn't want to hear this. He doesn't want to hear any of this. He certainly doesn't want this man to act as an expert about his wife and him and his wife's situation. So he leaves out. He goes back to his apartment, gets his gear together, because he is going to go and find Sherry now. He turns back, looks at this fish on the wall, reaches in the fish mouth and pulls out an old cigarette packet. It has one half cigarette with lipstick on it, and it has a whole cigarette and something else at the bottom of it. He looks in there, and whatever he sees in there makes him realize something about Sherry. So he leaves back out, and as he's getting on the motorcycle and going back out, we don't see him. We see the shadow of him, his reflection in a pool of Fat Joey's blood, and it's this moment. So he's on out. Next thing we see, Eugene and this chick walking into what is clearly like a flea market area. It's like where all the shopping is done and marketing done and work and market stuff is done and work and all of that. She gives him the skinny. This is where you get, fed, your hair cut, your food. So you get bread, fed, and shaving your head, cut your head, cut your hair. And so he's learning, everyone has a number. And when you go and you take something, you can have whatever you want, whatever you take, you just have to write it down. And he asks a couple questions. He sees a couple of people around. They come upon a jar of pickles, and she's like, "Oh, well, number, you know, 32 or whatever, I don't know, made the pickles." So she wants to give him a pickle, and he says no. So she closes the jar up, takes the jar and shoves it at him and says, "If you see something you want, you better take it." Which is typical Neganite thinking. Whatever you want, take it. Like that's what they do. So she brings him outside in the quad where the walkers are being kept in this gated area, and Negan is there and a group of his Neganites. And so, he asked the question, "Who are you?" And it's not necessarily being asked to Eugene, but it kind of sort of is. Eugene is standing there with the pickle, and everybody behind him, including the young lady, says, "I am Negan." And so he's sort of subliminally training Dwight, listen, you catching on, you getting it, you understand what you need to do to survive and to keep from getting this bad upside the head. When I ask who you are, you best tell me you Negan, okay? So then he goes through this whole conversation about, so you made this bullet and you're a very useful person. What can you do? And he's, in typical Eugene fashion, one note drones on about he doesn't have an eidetic memory, but he does retain information. He likes to read books. He's not an expert at necessarily making bullets, but he read a book one time and he reads books about this, that, and the other. And Negan realizes as he drones on that Dwight is the putty. Dwight is perfect putty. He can be shaped and made into whatever Negan wants him to be made into. One, because he is soft and weak and cowardly, but two, because he's green. Like, he is green as hell, and he's going to have fun with Dwight, with Eugene. So he says, "You're just a regular old a-hole, right?" And Eugene gets upset. "I'm not a regular old a-hole. I have several degrees. I am, I was a part of the Human Genome Program. I'm also a doctor, and, all of this stuff in an effort to prove that he's not just some regular Joe." Well, in doing this, Negan poses a question and says, "Hey, since you're so smart, tell me how I can keep my walkers from rotting away. I use them to scare off anybody that would come and jump the gate. That's why we keep the walkers at the gate, but they fall apart. How can I keep them from falling apart?" So Eugene thinks about it for a moment, and right at that moment where Negan is about to say, "Forget it, you don't know anything," he says, "The smelting machine. I saw a smelting machine in the marketing area. You can use the smelting machine to cast the walkers in metal. Their head, everything in metal. It will keep their body together and keep them from rotting away and keep people from stabbing them in the head and killing them." So Negan loves the plan. He thinks it's ingenious. He realizes that Eugene is quite possibly one of the best things he's acquired from shaking down people in this area, because he's a wealth of information. So to thank Eugene, he's going to send a couple of wives over later on. Lets them know you can laugh, you can talk with them and everything, but you can't sleep with them. It's the only thing you can't do, and that will get you a bat upside the head ASAP if you do it. So, that was a crazy moment, because I'm just like, Eugene, why would you tell him how to make a super walker? Like, I don't care for Eugene. He gets on my nerves. I just find him to be extremely, extremely taxing. So, okay, so let's move to the next scene. We see the three wives that Negan sent over, all dressed in these little black dresses. It's ridiculous. And they're sitting around chit chatting and talking with him. Can we play a game? We'd love to have conversation with you. And like most people who've been held captive, they know how to assimilate with their captor, just to make life easy. And they're women. They use their feminine wiles. They start to pick Eugene's brain when they realize he's just a total geek and a nerd. He's just sitting there playing video games and they're watching him. One is getting completely sloshed, like completely drunk. The other two are asking him about what can he do? Can he make a bomb? You're really smart. What's happening? And he just goes into this conversation about the fact that he can make a bomb. Everything is extremely literal with Eugene. Everything is literal. So if you say, "Hey Eugene, what's up?" He'll be like, "The most immediately thing that's up is the ceiling." And then beyond that, in the uttermost up, you will find space. In between there, you will find what people would call a blue sky. He's a very literal individual. He puts the corn in cornball. Okay, he is as cheesy as they come. The girls realize this. They encourage him to make them a small bomb, show them how to make a bomb, and so he makes this sort of small explosives, and they're like, "Ah, good deal, yay, 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 yay!" And for this moment, he appears to feel good about himself, I guess. There's always this auxiliary thought that Eugene knows what's going on and he's playing the game, but at the same time, who he is immediately right in front of my face is like, I just don't like him. So then we see Dwight. Dwight is looking for Sherry. He's gone back to their family home because we hear in this letter that she has left him there with her 2 wedding rings. The letter is being read now out loud as a narrative as he is walking around this home. I mean, it's dilapidated. The windows are broken out and all that kind of stuff. We read the letter and we read that she has told him, "We always said that if we ever got separated, we would always meet back here. And we joked about you coming to meet me with beer and pretzels." And, just sort of reminiscing back on who they were and how happy they were and all of that and how things have changed. She lets him know that she has already left this place because she's not really sure if when he comes to meet her there, if he's going to embrace her, if he is going to take her back, or if he's going to kill her. Now, embracing her would mean that he would be siding with her and then they would be trying to, I guess, run together and, Negan be damned, or try to kill her. And she wasn't sure which one because he's changed so much. And she realizes now that she wasn't saving him by agreeing to marry Negan in order to spare Dwight's life. She realized that she was condemning him to this person that he has become, this killer, this murderer, this bully, this antagonist. And she knows he is not happy. She knows that when he saw Daryl reminded him of who he used to be. And that was something that he resented because everything that they've done to survive, he's done to keep her alive and she's done to keep him alive, has turned him into this animal, this less than human individual. And that's not who he was. And she said she let Daryl go. She let him go because he reminded her too of who Dwight used to be. And she didn't want him to become what Dwight is right now. Because when the young lady shows Eugene his apartment, she said this apartment was meant to be Daryl's, but he ran off and left. So then we see Dwight sit down and open the pack of the old pack of cigarettes. What's left is this little cigarette with her lipstick on it. It's a half a cigarette. He goes to light that up. He pours out of the cigarette container his ring. So they must have kept the cigarettes and their rings in this container in the fish's mouth to hide it away. Always as a symbol that they would be together. And when she left, she must have taken those rings out of there. So when he initially looked in that package, maybe he knew that with her rings gone where she was headed. It's a really, really sad moment. I feel bad for Dwight because he's a product of his environment. But at the same time, it's so many of them and only one of Negan. It just seems always ridiculous to me when one man can be the Svengali and the ruler over so many and they foolishly follow. Anyway, he goes in his bag, Dwight does, and he pulls out chips and a pretzel. And this lets us, and pretzels and beer. And this lets us know that he was more than likely going there to run away with her, to escape with her, to leave that whole situation, to never go back. And it's a very, very sad moment. Yeah. So then we go back to the saviors camp, and we see Eugene back in his apartment with the pickles playing that stupid video game. The ladies come in and they let him know, the woman that was with them, the other wife, her name was Amber. Amber's drinking a lot. Amber's sad. She decided to marry Negan so her mom could get medicine, but she not about that life. Like, she's getting worse and worse every day, and she wants to end her life, and they want to help her. And she says, we want to just give her something to sleep so that she will go to sleep and just real peaceful. Like, he says, well, why would I do that? Because she's going to wake up as a walker. She's going to wake up dead and then kill people around them. Why would I do that? And they said, oh, no, we have provisions for that. Right. So, like, we don't know that you dare to kill Negan. Like, of course. So the woman says, will you make the pills, please? Make 2 for us. We just want to be sure. We don't know how often we'll get a chance to do it. And he agrees to do it, like a dummy. And, yeah. So then we see Eugene in the freaking market again. He walks up to the line, tells the lady he wants these cold tablets. And she's like, you prick, get in the back of the line. You're not supposed to jump the line. And as he's on his way to the back of the line, sniveling and groveling, he realizes, wait a minute, I'm upper echelon. Like, I'm one of the superior Neganites. Goes back to the table. He wants to know the lady's number. What's your number? Who are you? I answer only to Negan, and you better do as you're told, so on and so forth. The lady backs down. She cowers. Eugene feels sort of empowered, and he takes the cold tablets. He takes couple of other things. If he takes this little stuffed animal, and he takes this other fly swatter, and he's just like feeling empowered. So he takes a whole bunch of stupid stuff, dumb. And he gets back to his apartment, still eating pickles, and he creates these pills. We see peaches there, and I think I've read something about whatever's in a peach seed being used to make cyanide. I think I learned that from Breaking Bad. But anyway, so he's created this pill. Prior to this, we see Dwight is in the doctor's office. This is after he's come back from reading the letter, finding his wife. And so the doctor is asking him, he's checking the wound on his head again. He says, did you find her? And Dwight says, yes, I found her. And I killed her. She took off running when she saw me and ran into a bunch of walkers. There was nothing I could do for her, so I had to kill her anyway. And the doctor's like, oh, that's a shame. That's too bad. He just goes into this conversation about who she is, who she was, and what a shame. And it kind of I could tell it kind of pissed Dwight off that much more. I think he always had a plan to blame someone else. I don't know if his plan was always to blame one person in particular. But he I think he at this moment it shows that he had a plan. Now we don't know this, but the stuff that the doctor is saying is pissing him off. Like, you think you knew my wife, you think you knew who my wife was. My wife was one of the bravest people. You know, she was one of the most courageous people, and she seemed weak to you, but she was very,
See the
very
young lady
strong. Take Eugene to where the furnace is. Everyone's there. The doctor's there. Um, Dwight is there. He's standing there stoking the fire. Negan's there. He's got Lucille. And he looks up at Eugene, and the young lady points at him with Lucille and says, "You want to pay attention to this." And somebody's about to be punished. Turns out it's the doctor, because they find on the doctor's person a letter, a little written letter that says, "Goodbye, honey," which was the last part of the tagline that Sherry wrote to Dwight in that letter, in that Dear John letter. And he had cut that out, he had taken that out, and he had planted it on the doctor. And now they believe that the doctor um released anyway.
Daryl.
So he planted this little snippet on the doctor, and they believe that the doctor let Daryl go, and then Sherry ran off. This is what Dwight has told. Sherry ran off because she thought she would be blamed, and that resulted in her being killed and Daryl being gone. So now the doctor has to get punished. So, you know, he's already punched the doctor a couple of times. He goes and gets the hot iron. He's going to burn the doctor's face. He tells the doctor. Now, Eugene is up there and he's got his eyes closed. He doesn't want to see. And the girl turns his head and pulls his hands down and forces him to look. And everybody has to keep their eyes on this punishment. Like, you can't shun your eyes from it. And so he goes to burn the doctor's face, and he says, please don't burn me, please don't burn me." And Negan says, "I won't burn you if you just tell me that you did it. You don't have to go through all this." And so he immediately says, "Yes, I did it." So he says, "See, that was easy peasy." So he takes the iron, puts the iron away, and he tells the doctor, "That wasn't so hard, was it?" And he says, "No, it wasn't." Then he takes the guy and he shoves him into the furnace. He just walks him over and shoves him into the furnace. Burns the man alive. Everybody's listening to this man screaming, and just, it's horrible. Everything that goes on with those saviors is absolutely atrocious, like super, super horrible. I mean, the women are running off. Like, it's really bad. So, yeah, and he kills them, no big deal, because they've got Eugene now. They've got another doctor, so they can feasibly, you know, do away with this doctor. Um, the whole time Dwight is there, he's looking into the fire. He's got this really glazed over look after the doctor is thrown into the fire. I mean, he is white as a walker. I would say sheep, but he looks like the Walking Dead. Like, his skin is so white. Like, he's become this person. He did it to save Sherry. He doesn't want them looking for Sherry. He needed them to find a scapegoat. This guy kind of pissed him off. He was just as good as any, but it still feeds into what Sherry wrote in her letter, which is, "You've become this person that I don't know anymore." So yeah, it won't be long for Dwight. Then we see, Negan tells Dwight, "I'm sorry about Sherry, and I'm sorry that she's dead." And Dwight says he's not. He's playing this role all the way to the end because, Negan says, man, you're ice cold. So then we see Eugene playing the game. The girls come in. They want to know if he's made the pills. He said, I have made the pills. And she says, well, Amber needs them. He says, he knows that the pills are for Negan, and he's not giving it to him. And they threaten him. They say, if you don't give it to us, we're going to go and tell him it was your idea and you were trying to kill him and you made these pills. And he said, you know what? After what I saw today, I realized I'm more valuable to him alive than you are. You guys are expendable. So no, I'm not giving you the pills. And they call him a coward. He was like, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. A coward that is alive. So toodles. The ladies leave, then there's a knock at the door. Um, Eugene goes to the door. It's Negan. He and Lucille. And he starts in with this conversation and he says, I want to ask you a question. Who? And before he could say anything else, Eugene says, I am Negan. Unequivocally, without a doubt, I am Negan. I have always been Negan. I just needed to meet you to confirm it. But yeah, I mean, you don't even have to ask. I am Negan. Neegan. I am Negan. What you call me? Negan. Give me an N. Give me an E. Give me an E. Like he just went into this whole speech. So obviously, all the subliminals, everything that he had seen through this small little episode made him to know quite successfully that he is Negan and that this is what needs to be done in order for him to survive. And so that was a funny little scene. And that whole little speech, you could just tell it turned Negan on. Like it was everything Negan to hear. Like it made his teeth white. His penis got hard. Just hearing that kind of subservient behavior, he's such a megalomaniac. Like that is his number one turn on. Later we see Eugene and he's up high. He's looking down below where they are casting now the dead in this metal. And, Eugene says to Dwight, who's standing there, he's walking up and he says, I don't know if you remember my name or not. And Dwight says, no, I don't remember your name. He says, my name is Eugene and you're Dwight, and together we're Negan. And there's this moment where it's like Eugene is telling Dwight, we're both in the same boat. You, Dwight, I'm Eugene, but we Negan. And me and you both are here to survive. I hate him just like you hate him, but we've got to survive. We've got to get through this. So that was how the episode ended. Like I said, the episode was really more informational. It was about getting to know the character of Dwight. It was and Eugene. A little bit more about the Savior's camp and how things work there. So it wasn't action packed necessarily. We did have, a death and one supposed death. So, the episode ends with this. Next week is going to be a lot more exciting, a lot more action. But I have a couple of questions for you guys. One, we know that Eugene still has these pills. Do you think we're going to see these pills again? In the near future, he did confirm that he finished these pills. He made these pills. What do you think he's going to do with these pills? What about Sherry? She's still out there. She could possibly be alive. Her showing back up alive is going to be a dead giveaway that Dwight lied and ultimately had the doctor killed for no reason. Will Eugene and Dwight form an alliance? What do you guys think? I think that ending kind of alluded to the fact that there might be an alliance between Eugene and Dwight. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment. Please remember to hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to my channel. Let me know with the thumbs up if you like the content, the review I did. And put your thoughts down below. I'd like to hear what you guys thought of this episode. What do you think about this sniveling, quivering coward Eugene? You think he's playing the role? Doing what he has to do to survive, but he's ultimately still with Team Rick and Alexandria? I'd like to know what you guys think. Until next time, you guys, I'll holla.